Hello viewers, I am Dr. Shourav Das Choudhury and here's a short discussion over the overview of management of diabetes in pregnancy. At the very onset, a disclaimer, the scope of discussion in this video is beyond the ambit of non-medical person. It is essentially a refresher or a recapitulation for my physician colleagues and gynecologist friends, and also an initiation regarding the understanding of diabetes in pregnancy for my undergraduate juniors. At the very onset, let us understand what this pregnancy with diabetes would entail. Essentially, it would include both the groups, that is patients who previously had a diagnosed or an undiagnosed diabetes, which could be a type 1 diabetes or a type 2 diabetes or a LADA or a MODY, MODY, or fibrocalculous pancreatic diabetes, so to say. All the different kinds of diabetes that we know of previously present, and the patient is having a pregnancy now, or the diabetes is occurring because of the pregnancy itself per se. Now, how common would be a case of diabetes in pregnancy? It's very common. We don't exactly have very strong Indian data regarding this, but if you look at anecdotal evidence, the incidence and the prevalence is as high as 1 in 20. That is 5% of patients who are pregnant would be complicated with the presence of diabetes. And what would be the kinds of diabetes that we would find? Once again, we do not have very strong Indian data regarding this, and we'll also have to look at the international data that is available regarding this. A very high number would be the GDM ones, the gestational diabetes mellitus. Data shows it can be as high as 87.5%. A slightly higher number of type 1 diabetes and slightly lower number of type 2 diabetes. Approximately 7.5% would be type 1 diabetes, approximately 5% would be type 2 diabetes. How strongly this holds good for the Indian context is a matter of conjecture. We do know that Indians and Southeast Asians, so to say, we have a very high incidence of type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes occurs at a much younger age compared to our Caucasian counterparts. So the incidence and prevalence of type 2 diabetes presenting with a pregnancy would probably be much higher if we consider the Indian scenario. Next, who are at risk for this gestational diabetes? And in one word answer for my friends would be everyone that you are treating. Any patient with pregnancy in India is at a risk for gestational diabetes. Why? If we look at the criteria for risk patients, high risk patients for gestational diabetes, we find the following criteria. One would be a previous gestational diabetes. One would be a previous macrosomic baby with a birth weight of more than 4.5 kgs, a BMI, body mass index, of more than 30, a first degree relative with diabetes, and last but definitely not the least, and fundamentally the most important for us Indians, would be the high risk populations, and that includes Southeast Asians, that includes the Black Caribbeans, and that includes the Middle Easterns. So essentially, any Southeast Asian patient with a pregnancy is a at-risk patient for gestational diabetes, and you must be undertaking adequate investigations to rule out gestational diabetes in such patients. So how to do it and when to do it? Importantly, we screen for gestational diabetes with the first booking. It's not 24 to 28 weeks. It's not that we are looking for GDM particularly by definition in such patients. The moment you have a booking, the word booking is actually an UK term in this regard, it's with the first booking. And what do we test by? We test with a OGTT, oral glucose tolerance test. Now, importantly, in the Indian context, in the major semi-urban and rural context of India, in the extremely research poor setting, in the extremely funds poor setting of India, you do need to understand OGTT, doing a very stringent, properly done oral glucose tolerance test with a 75-gram anhydrous glucose. This is difficult. This is difficult. This is a bit of a wishful thinking. Unfortunately, it is done in metropolitan cities. It is done in high-end centers. But doing a OGTT properly, it is difficult. Understanding the stringent conditions and the stringent amount of anhydrous glucose that we use. So I believe, and this is a personal opinion, and this is an opinion of a huge number of endocrinologists, that yes, if you are doing your fasting blood glucose and postprandial blood glucose properly, it would act as a very good surrogate for the very stringent OGTT tests. So what are the values? At what values do you actually diagnose the patient as a gestational diabetes? And it would be a fasting value of more than 100 and a PP value of more than 140. Once again, UK mentions this data in millimole per liter, and correspondingly, if you divide the subsequent numbers by 18, you get the millimole per liter values. It's 5.6 and 7.8 millimole per liter respectively. So these are the values. Is there a place for HbA1c, glycosylated hemoglobin, in the diagnosis of gestational diabetes? According to evidence, according to data, according to guidelines throughout the world, no, not really. But do we at all do an HbA1c test for gestational diabetes? Is there any importance at all? Answer to that is yes. Clearly would understand diabetes is one disorder that is underdiagnosed throughout the world. We know it for a fact that